Alright, everybody. I'm gonna do the thing that I said I would never do, which is stream my Guild Wars fights. A little nervous, because the last thing I want to do is lose because I'm paying attention to you beautiful people. But, we're gonna do it. This is happening. You guys ready for this? Let's get a little warm-up action going in. Little warm-up. Morning, Panos. Getting them warm-ups in. Hey, what's up, Snake? And Havoc? And Isabel? Morning, everybody. Or afternoon, I guess, depending on where you're at. Can you tell I'm in a serious mood right now? I'm like already trying to like get myself in the right mindset. I even put on like a chill music playlist. Just because I want to make sure. Gotta make sure. Hey, good morning, Tim. If we go 5 for 5, we'll get some Crab Rave going on after this. We'll dance it up after this. Just gotta get some serious key lime mood. Hey, morning, man. It's definitely useful when there's a match quite like that at the start. Not a fan of this purple storm, that's for sure. That's what I was looking for. Just keep cycling till I get what I want. There we go. That works. Fortunately, you'd probably never fight that team on a Guild Wars day, because killing, having multiple troops, not good for the bonuses, if you know what I mean. I also changed my stream setup. Let me see if I can actually take a picture of this for you and show you. So, all the cool kids apparently have a ring light that they use for this. Here, you can even get a picture of my sweet Wawa pretzels. Let me turn the credit card away so you don't see that. Haha. So, that's that's what we're dealing with here. I got my ring light set up back there now. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I got my Wawa celebratory pretzels underneath. Yeah, so like the next step with this stream setup is like, instead of it being like pitch black behind me, I want to have like colored lights back there, so that way it's kind of like got a little atmosphere. And then if I get crazy with it, I can have the lights actually like blink and stuff when you guys subscribe and donate and all that other crazy stuff. So that should be fun to mess around with. But first step was get the ring light. Don't love this starting board, not gonna lie. So my goal right now when I'm in this kind of a situation is to get Apothecary up, because if I can just get Apothecary up, then I should be able to start what I want to do. Yeah, so like now we're in a decent spot. I just had to survive that like initial phase of all that good stuff. And now we're in Smash Town. So now we're in Happy Land. Though admittedly I kinda want to cast Doomglaive again, but if I was a smarter man I would just relax a little. This is why I'm playing the chill music playlist. I just want to calm the mind. I do not want to end up doing something silly. Well, that's annoying that you're an Orb Weaver, but sure. That just resets the context a little bit. And then also with this team, you pretty much never want to use Apothecary on greens if you can avoid it. So that ends up working out nicely. Alright guys, we ready to hop in? We ready to ascend to glory? Or descend into hell? It's one of those. Let's see what we got here. So first step of Guild Wars is look at what you're fighting. So this is a web spinner version of this team. They traded out Graveseer here, so they don't have any mana generation whatsoever. So this team's going to be slow. The only thing that's going to screw me at the start of this is if the starting board looks really bad and I can't prevent like a web spinner Skull Cascade. But assuming I can avoid that, I'll be fine. Their team score is also lower than mine by a significant margin, so like this should be fine. So I feel comfortable using what I have. This team beats life and death teams pretty regularly, so not really concerned about that. And I apologize if when I'm playing, if I'm not going to talk to you guys a whole lot while I'm fighting, just because I want to make sure I end this 5-0. So I'm feeling good. I'm gonna jump in. Let's do this live. This is exactly the board I didn't want, by the way. So that's a good start. So when I'm in this scenario, I can't avoid a skull, and I can theoretically potentially get Apothecary up, and they're entangled, so the odds of them getting cleansed right at the start is low. Are they not running any badges? Alright, so they don't have any cleanse badges either, so basically what I would prefer to do here is take the blue, hope I get a Surge and get Apothecary, which will allow me to then use Apothecary on the yellows, which will explode the board and do all the good stuff that I want. Taking a skull right now would obviously do nothing. Like, they're gonna take a skull, I'm gonna take a skull, is the way this is gonna go. So the right thing to do right now would be to go for mana. And while they also have a lower cleanse chance here, so for me this is the best move, and hopefully this surges. Great. Great. Everything went according to plan. This is an Orb Weaver, right? But it's only level 26, so they have it traded at least, right? Yeah. So they're not going to be stealthy, which for this team doesn't super matter. The one thing that's nice about this team not being stealthy though is that a really safe play to make right now, even though I don't have the alignment that I want ideally for this cast, is if I use my Wild Queen on this troop here, even if they start summoning a bunch of spiders, like it's not that big of a deal. I could just do blues here and go for... Let's try that actually. So I'm gonna do blues here to try and get the board looping again. See if I can get the board looking more the way I want. This is closer to what I want. Still not quite though. So I still think Wild Queen's gonna be the better cast here on this, which will keep me nice and safe. The damage output that I have here is not going to be enough to kill them outright, unless I just get my Archer trait to trigger. So this isn't super safe, that's not setting me up for the endgame. So Wild Queen, I believe, is the correct cast, because even if it completely fails, they're going to have 0 attack regardless. So I believe Wild Queen is the safer cast here. So let's go with that. It certainly doesn't hurt when you get perfect alignment for everything that you wanted. And then that's even great. Actually, this is just gonna kill, because the blade itself is gonna kill the Arachnian Weaver, and then the resulting skill hit from this will just kill him, so... That's numero uno. That was a little easier, so hooray for that. Wheel spin for the first victory. Alright, so this is classic Life and Death. So, this is still fine. What are we dealing with here? So, they are stealthy? Yeah, so they've got stealthy. And they're running, I'm gonna guess, triple Cedric, which is generally fine. I'm not so much worried about debuffs. This team, the only debuff that's getting applied is Entangle, and Graveseer doesn't have any weird special skull interactions. So this should still be fine. This is, again, one of those fights where I should only lose if I mess up the board. Like, if the starting board is really, really bad, and I can't prevent a Graveseer alignment, and then I start getting looped a lot. It's really the only way I'm going to lose here. I don't agree with that banner choice either. Their team score is more comparable, so stat-wise this should be fairly even. So, still good with this one. Still good with this. I am a-okay with this. So even though I'm entangled, I'm still gonna pop this, just because I want to potentially just kill him outright. Still fine with all of this. And I'm fine with this. Alright. Well, that's how you do that. Alright, so this is a debuffy kind of team. They're going to use the Leaf Storm start to pop off right away and then Essence of Evil somebody. And if they Essence of Evil my Apothecary, then I'm going to be in a really bad spot. Team score's a little lower, but nothing significant. They're running this with an Archer. No medals? They're not running a single medal, huh? Feels a little odd, but okay. So, right now I'm running this with an attack and a mana start medal, so that way I can theoretically get Apothecary boosted right away. I'm debating switching to cleanse medals for this one. Even though I'm going to get cursed and it's going to take a little longer to fall off, like, this team, the moment these two start going off each other, it's going to be game over. And with Leprechaun there, it's going to be really hard to stop it. So the problem with my team versus their team is that we both want greens, and they have a way of just, like, randomly getting a bunch of them. So this is kind of a scary matchup. This is going to come down to, like, starting board RNG if I want to use this team specifically. Erased all my other teams. I forgot about that. One thing that you may not know is that when you play on the phone and the computer, for whatever reason, it decides to, like, if you have the game open on your phone while you're making teams on your computer, and then you close your computer, and then you do something on your phone, all of your teams are going to get wiped. So, like, the phone teams that were still there before you switch them on the PC are the ones that get saved. So, that probably isn't that big of an issue for most people, but for me, who makes, like, tons of teams on my PC for videos while I'm playing on my phone separately, ends up causing all kinds of problems. So I'm tempted to use more of like a Taipan team in this setup, actually. Because if I use a Taipan Yao setup, I don't want greens anymore, I want reds and browns, which will kind of like favor this kind of a setup. I might even run it with Sunspear, just to try and force it a little bit. And if I run it with Sunspear, that's going to create a red storm. Yeah, actually, I'm going to do that. So the reason I'm switching to this team is because I'm trying to switch up the mana that I want versus what they want. So they're set up right now to take advantage of a Leaf Storm start. If I switch it to something like this, this is going to make it so the Leaf Storm start is not a thing anymore. since Sun Spear is going to force it to be a different thing. So I'm going to run this with Essence of Evil. So I showed this in my latest video. The only difference between what I'm going to do now versus what I showed in the video is that I'm going to run this with Sun Spear so I can force the storm to be what I want it to be. So this is the right move, I believe. So we're still 4 green. I want red now. I'm converting away browns, and the storm will not be what they want. So when they explode, theoretically, the most they should get out of that is King Silencius, which is not so much a danger. So I think this is the right team to be using. So I will start this fight. Let me double check all my traits and talents are set correctly. I also muck with those too much. Snap Freeze is there, Root Trap is there. Don't care about the Firestorm start. Blue Ally's getting sure, because I already get the Firestorm start, so that's not a big deal. Submerging against that team doesn't really matter, so I might as well do that. Because, let me double check, I'm pretty sure that team's not using any kind of abilities like that. Right? Yeah, so Submerge isn't going to help me in this fight, so I might as well switch up. So I'll get a little extra survivability by switching up this one to Wall of Vines. So since all of my team is green today, they'll all be getting 5 extra armor. Submerge is not going to matter. Getting 1 magic is really not going to make or break this fight. The extra 5 armor will definitely help more. Bonus red is still what I want for sure. Fireblade doesn't really matter, but there's nothing else that's here. Fireblade could theoretically come in handy if my Essence of Evil ends up burning somebody. So that's gonna be the team for this one. So let's see how this one goes. Everything's set correctly. Oh wait, I never changed my medals though. Actually, what do I want? Do I want the 20% mana start? Kinda do actually, because so I'm gonna run this with 2 Cedrics. 2 Cedrics and a 20% mana. So, this will be the team. Let's give this a go. So right off the bat, we kind of have what we want here. So this should get us in a really good spot. There's actually a lot of purple on the board too. So now I'm in a scenario where theoretically casting Yao right now is not a great idea. However, total damage output is going to be 70. Ooh, I'm going to be just shy. These two are both going to be on life support if I cast this. And I can't really do much else. They're going to explode the board, which might end up just accidentally giving me alignment. I could take the green, which will hurt them a little bit, but I think I'd rather have them both on life support, because once these two are dead, then it's pretty much over. The only thing I'll need to survive next turn is this Leprechaun Explosion, and then I should be mostly okay. Fortunately, they're not getting a lot of Leprechaun Explosions, since it's going to be greens that they explode. I could theoretically take this to make their explosion even less effective, but that's going to drop this green down here, which is not necessarily going to be that different. Exploding this little section of the board is still going to happen if I pull this down. So I still think I'm going to take the damage in this scenario. Well, great. That worked better than expected. So now we're in a pretty good spot. I'm kind of fine with taking the skull, but for points I guess it would make more sense to not. I'll just do this. I'm kind of really okay with him jumbling the board for me, because the board wasn't exactly looking like any kind of situation that I wanted. Casting Yao right now doesn't give them anything, so that's fine. Still fine with all of that. This feels like the move, because that's not going to give them any kind of skull alignment and no mana matches that I can see. So this is fine. Actually no, this will give them skull alignment. So if you track this move all the way through, if I move this red up here, it's going to match these yellows, which is going to pull down these reds. So if I pull this up, pull this down, this brown is going to be right here. No, this brown is going to be here. So it's actually, am I going to hit them with that skull? No. So it's going to leave this skull right here. So he's going to be able to hit me with that next turn. Theoretically, that's a safe move to make because I can take a skull hit, no problem. There's nothing funny going on with skulls here. It's also possible that I could end up just getting a loop if I do this. So this is a way of skull baiting him if I wanted to do this. By pulling this up, this will come down, this brown will end up, what did I say? These are coming down, this is going to be a total of 4 slots down, 4. I'm pretty sure, alright, let me actually think about this a little more. So this comes up, these all come down, these are down 1, which means up, so yeah, total of 4 slots down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and the browns will be down 1. So this brown's here, these browns will be here. If he takes this, then that'll get the skull. He'll probably not take that, he'll just like take the skull outright. But that's totally fine, and it'll get me my Yao mana, which is all I need to kill him, so this is fine. This is like score optimization at this point. Or I just totally factored it all wrong and it doesn't matter anyway. Alright, sure. I can only imagine everyone in chat's like, no, he's doing it wrong. Team comp still made a ton of sense. Alright, so now we're back to life and death, which is fine. We go right back to the classic. So let's check out what this dude's doing. So level 67. He's running a badge of Cedric? What the hell? Alright, so this guy has like no cleanses going on whatsoever. I'm gonna switch back to my attack medals on this one, because I'm not so much worried about any of the situation that they're doing there with theirs. Theoretically, I would be running life medals actually. That might make more sense actually. I should do that. Even though the attack's gonna help, honestly, if I'm blowing them up as hard as I normally do anyway with Doomglaive, the extra attack's really not gonna make or break that much. The extra life will help me potentially survive a couple life and death casts, so life medals actually probably makes more sense. That's the appropriate banner, by the way. The banner that the other guy was running didn't make any sense. Just trying to see if there's anything I'm missing. Looks fine. Archer, the right team setup. Alright, in we go. Hopefully no bad starting board. So this is again the scenario where first thing I need to do is look for what they're going to get with Graveseer. So this is bad. So can't let this stay, so this is pretty much the only move I can make right now. If I take this, then Graveseer casts and they get nothing out of it, which really slows them down a lot. So unfortunately this is the right move to make. I would rather take this to get my Apothecary, but I can't allow them to get this Graveseer match, so this is the move that I have to take here. And then we'll see where it goes. So that's not so bad. They have life and death up, but what's nice is that Apothecary is out of the mana drain range, so that makes life a lot easier. Let me see if I can do any kind of cool mana stuff here. I don't think I can. So right now I'm just trying to take the safest mana that I can do. And I doubt I'm going to be able to delay his life and death cast by moving this here, but I'm going to try it. So there's a chance that they might go for the skulls instead, which would be great, because if I surge off of this, that'll get me all the mana I need to then basically take over the board at that point in time. So taking this to the left potentially sets up a skull bait situation, might surge and get me Apothecary. What's nice is that there's another blue sitting out there, so if this doesn't surge, I still have another way of getting my blue mana for Apothecary. So I think this is still the right move. Didn't skull bait, but we did mana surge. So now we just get rid of those death marks. And this is where I have to make a choice on if I want to start going wild with Wild Queen or just try and slow roll this a little bit. My opinion when it comes to this situation really depends on what team I'm fighting. So when I'm fighting this team, speed is pretty damn important, because if I let this guy keep going and going, like, it just creates a problem. I'm sure you've all seen how much of a problem this can be. So, realistically what I'm gonna do here is Wild Queen it. What's nice is that this guy's entangled and this guy's up top, which means that even if I kill this person, the next person's gonna be very skull reduced. So even if this totally backfires, the amount of damage I should take back is pretty minimal. This isn't the best board for a Wild Queen cast, but realistically I think this is the right move to make, just because I can't allow them to be getting mana that much faster. And what's nice about casting Wild Queen here is that Graveseer doesn't need greens in any capacity, and this guy's not going to help them with mana generation at all, so even if I accidentally fill this guy, worst I'm going to take is a little bit of an AoE attack. So, I think Wild Queen is the right move in this scenario, despite it not being high probability. So like, this scenario is still generally fine, but what I really need is another Apothecary. This guy is still super low. Steal armor, transform it into a random skill, and give it to himself. That's fine. That's nothing really that bad. So normally like skulls would probably be your first instinct, but what I really need is Apothecary mana. The only way I could really get it, I'm pretty sure the banner I'm running is getting me... I am getting +2. So technically if I surge here, this could get me full mana. Or I could take the green and maybe get full mana. I think I lean towards the blue, because even if I get my Doomglaive up, I'm still not going to be able to blow them up, really. Although I will be able to entangle them. But they're going to take the skull if I do this anyway. So I'm basically banking on the mana surge right now, or getting Doomglaive probably up if that surges as well. I could get rid of the skulls if I do this. No, because that's going to pull this all down, so no. If I did something like this, that would get the skulls out of the way, but it's not the mana that I want. And again, as I mentioned, speed is kind of important, so like I'm defaulting to taking a skull at this point in time. I just really want this to surge so I can get Apothecary off and then just take back board control really strong. This isn't going to set them up for any 4 or 5 matches, so I just need this to surge. Not quite what I needed, but that's fine. Apparently I don't know how mana surge calculations work exactly, so that's fine. Alright, I'm feeling super good at this point. This all went from like thinking really hard to like being fine. I would ideally have an Apothecary cast here. Blues. Alright. We're in murder mode. Still not quite the alignment that I want. Still not quite the alignment that I want. But I can Apothecary this again. Still not quite the alignment that I want. I'm really tempted to just cast Wild Queen again, because that's a good amount of skulls. And again, green mana is not helping them, so I'm kind of fine with using a Wild Queen again. Because from a speed point of view, this is going to just start ripping everybody, because his attack is going to be stupid high. And it'll also prevent a lot more skull blowback, so I still think this is the right move. Certainly helps when that happens. Normally I would advise against doing this on greens, but it's kind of like once I have full mana on everybody, it's fine. And as you can see, I have alignment now. I killed the life and death at some point in there, I guess. I guess that's a thing that happened. My attack is so high right now that Doomglaive is just gonna kill, so that's another one in the books. Okay, one more. I love how I wasn't able to calculate mana surge mana. How sad is that? Alright. So this guy This team is a very explodey purple mana kind of time. They are extremely lethal if you can't get them early. So what's nice about running an Archer is that the Leaf Storm doesn't help them in any capacity. I suspect they're gonna steal the Storm from me. But I'm actually kind of okay. Oh no, because it's a Frost Mage, so they're not gonna have... So they're running triple Cedrics, which is fine. But I have to keep that in mind, which means the Entangle and Glaceon's not likely to stick super long. I'm kind of fine with going against Frost Mage. The mana that I need versus what they need is different. This team is extremely lethal and quick. I'm kind of fine with this setup, honestly. And they're running triple Cedrics. There's nothing funny about this. They have Submerge, which is like gonna slow me down slightly, but not really. Since the skull damage is the primary damage, the like damage from Doomglaive is just kind of an added benefit. So this should go fine, but again, this is like a starting board scenario. So if the starting board looks super green and purple, I'm gonna be in trouble, unless I have a 4-5 match of my own. But I will get frozen straight off the start. So, potentially scary. But if there is a 4-5 match right up front, I should be okay. Let's see. So it's green, which is not ideal. So this is actually a really, really bad starting board. So there's a 4-match here, but there's alignment perfectly here. So what I really kind of want to do is this, to break up their conversion, but then I'm going to lose all of my greens in the process. If I cast this here, I kind of have to hope that it explodes here. So this is kind of like your stereotypical, this is a really bad starting board. I'm tempted to do this because they're going to get one bounce, so Frost Mage gives them a little bit of mana bouncing, and they're going to get blue and this. That's really scary, actually. So this could go terribly. The best thing that could happen in this scenario is I take this and something down here explodes. If that doesn't happen, then I might just lose turn 1, but we'll see. I don't think I have much of a choice though. Because taking this is going to get me blues and purples, which could theoretically get me what I need. Actually, that even might be safer. So he's going to cast Graveseer next turn no matter what, right? So I'm going to do this. That's going to give him purple. That's going to give him 1 purple. This will fall low enough. So no, he's not going to get any of this. So this is all going to go away. So that's going to bring this brown all the way down here. No, it's gonna bring the blue down here with the brown right here. So technically this is kind of safe. I'm giving them a 4-match of greens. They don't care a ton about greens. They're not gonna take it though. So if I do this, they're gonna cast Graveseer. They're gonna get this. It's gonna set me up for a 4-match, I'm pretty damn sure, down at the bottom here. So I think I talked myself out of doing this, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do this. Because giving them green is not the worst, even though they're not gonna get green, they're gonna convert it all away. But if I surge off of this blue, and there will be more blue left, then I should get Apothecary and then get board control back. So this seems like the move to me, in retrospect. Because he's probably he's either gonna take this and then cast Graveseer, or they are just gonna cast Graveseer. And in either scenario, I should be fine. Because if he takes this and then Graveseer, then I'm actually in an even better spot from a Graveseer cast point of view. So I think this is the right move. Got the Surge. Ooh, I'm so glad he took that 4-match though. Did you see that? That was about to be trash. Alright, but now we're looking really, really good. So let's just clean all that up. So now we're feeling really good. Right now I'm just in setup my Doomglaive scenario. I kind of want to leave that green though, because if this leads to an eventual Wild Queen cast, I want as much green on the board as I can. So realistically I want to be converting away something else. I'll do yellows so that way even Apothecary might refresh himself here. Still not having quite the alignment that I want, but fortunately I still get a lot of opportunities here to mana bounce, which is fine for me. I'm gonna do blues just to keep the board moving. There we go. So now I have the alignment that I want. Alright, feeling pretty good about myself. Oh, even better now. And Wild Queen for kicks. That is how you win. 5-0. Guild Wars Green Day, baby. Thanks, Panos. And we got a really decent score there. So I was complaining to my guild that every single fight that I've gone 5-0 this week so far, I haven't gotten more than like 9,300 points. So that 95 is really going to help my final score here. So for the week, that puts me at 54,536. So that is pretty damn legit. That should be enough to certainly get me up into Herald territory. Could get me into Champion territory, but I know that, oh, I just beat out a Balinor. Balinor, if you're watching. Oh, man. Yeah, that should put me in a pretty good spot. Ooh, Mumrux did really good, too. Yeah, so score-wise, that puts me right up there. Zephyr is our leader right now with 55. So right now I'm looking at top Herald. But there's still some other 5-0s, like Freak still needs to go and do his fight. Grimjaw must have used a non-color team because I noticed his points are a lot lower for some reason. Lynx has a chance to get another perfect week. I see Basher's right in the middle of his goodness. So, I said I never wanted to do it, but because I love you guys so much, Guild Wars fights on stream. So now that all the pressure is gone, we can have a little party. What do you guys say? That sounds kind of fun, right? Now that I can breathe a little bit. Oh my god. It's so stressful. This is why I love Guild Wars, though. For folks that don't take pleasure in Guild Wars, like, this is why I love Guild Wars. It's because it's the only mode that makes me actually give a shit. Like, every other mode you can just, like, lose and lose and lose and it doesn't really matter. But in this mode, you can seriously show off, like, how much you got. So, I think it's one of the best. And if you're still having trouble with Guild Wars Green Day teams, I did post a video last night with Guild Wars Green Day teams. I can certainly post the one I just used. I actually just realized I didn't even include the one that I literally just used in the video. But, you know what time it is, if you've at all been on my stream before. It's time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. With a little celebratory pretzel and a little bit of dancing. Off to Crab Island we go. I'm sorry, Liz. That sucks. Time to get our crabs on, baby. Time to get that energy up. Oh yeah, we're gonna change the playlist to happy music after this. Get the bongos going. Oh yeah, loosen it up. I'm so pumped. Oh man. I need to swallow this food, holy crap. Oh yeah. I still love how they float across the sand like that. They're just kind of like floating around. Liz, I will help you out right after the rave. Right after that rave. As I watch my viewer numbers plummet because nobody cares about the raving except for the people that I love. 5 Wednesday. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Back and forth. Side to side action. Yeah, baby. That move. I gotta add that move to my dancing repertoire at weddings. That's what I'm talking about. Get the jumping jacks, and then the swirl around, and then we're going to night mode. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. Bring it down. So the sun sets. Oh my god. Literally almost spilled my coffee all over myself. Oh yeah. For folks just tuning in, this is our celebratory 5 Guild Wars wins. Get it up. Oh yeah. Get your dance. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. Oh yeah. Full bouncing. Oh yeah. My neighbors think I'm crazy. My neighbors think I'm crazy. This is how we dance when we're alone in the dark. That's how we get it. I dance for the subs. That's what we're talking about. And then we go back to sleep. That's how we do it. Oh, I'm super pumped now. Now I'm in the zone. Alright, let's get the playlist to something energetic, and let's play some gems. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That wasn't as bad as I was expecting it could be, actually, as far as me streaming my Guild Wars. I was always nervous that that would end up going terribly for some reason. Heck yeah, Corn, get it, man. So, I'll talk you through. So, this team is basically, what's nice about this team is that you're always like 1 or 2 mana matches away from getting full, and it establishes board control really quick. And it also has a cleanse option, so everyone has Apothecary, so Apothecary can totally be there. Hopefully you have Doomglaive, because Doomglaive is going to be super helpful. So the question is what do I use if I don't have all of these troops? So there's a couple troops that we can use for Green Day, actually. This is another one you might not have, but you could always use Queen Aurora instead of Possess King. They're not exactly interchangeable, but they do similar things. They kind of keep the mana in the direction that you want it to be going. So you could use Queen Aurora instead of TPK, if you don't have TPK. And then, really, we just need another way of keeping the board looping. So I would probably recommend Mr. Gobtruffle, because he's doing 2 things as far as this team is concerned. He's going to help your loop go, and he also helps set up Doomglaive there. So if you're looking for an alternate version of the team that I just showed, this team would also kind of do something similar. If you don't have Queen Aurora, then what would I recommend? Great question. Let's see. No Queen Aurora. I would... So Glitter Claw's an option, but then we're looking at a totally different setup because there's too much mana similarity here. Ideally, I would be taking someone that takes brown. So I mean, of course, Yasmin's is another option that you could do. So like, if you have Yasmin's, that's another person you could put in place, because they're also making more green. Sylvan Amora is fine. Don't love them. Diviner's not really gonna... Well, actually, Diviner could help. Diviner is a semi-option there, if you wanted to do something like that. They'll give you another cleanse, and they'll just kind of help you get the board moving in another way. Naga Queen's not going to help you. Yeah. I think those are kind of your alternates. These top 2 is like really the thing, though, that would really get it going. So, if you guys just want to talk Green Day attack teams, by all means, let me know. I can talk you through other team builds with the troops that you have if you guys want to do that. Just gonna set this back to what it was, so I don't do Green Day next week and get confused as hell as to what's going on. But this team is love, this team is life. I can also actually take this as an opportunity to show you guys an Explore team, actually. So, I think I tried this Explore team live on stream before, and it was not done correctly. So let me show you the correct way of using this Explore team. And the nice thing about this Explore team is that all of you can make it. I'm like 99% sure all of you can make this Explore team. So if you have these basic ass troops, and you've gotten your Sentinel 250 wins or you used an orb on it, this team is gonna work no matter what level you are. No matter what level they are, no matter what level you are, this team is gonna get you through your Explorers. So let me show you how this goes. The punchline of this team is that you use your Shield of Ursaka 3 times on Rowain, and then you just destroy stuff. And it's super brain dead. So like, we explode, we cast Shield, I'm not even checking to see if there's other loops out there, it just like kinda doesn't matter. And then we do this again, and then we've got Shield, and then we got Leprechaun just for kicks, and then we got Shield, and then guess what happens, guys? Guess what happens? Blah blah blah. Dead. Super brain dead. So, and that'll work on everything. And it's super safe, because when you cast Shield, it barriers the hero, and it also barriers the person you targeted. So Rowain is going to be safe from damage, and your hero is going to be safe from damage, plus your hero is getting barrier on Brown. So here's that team code for folks that are looking to explore your faces off. This is credit to the gentleman Seraphim in my guild. He basically posted this team to me and said, use this on stream, and then when I used it last time on stream, I totally failed using it. Because I was impatient and I just wanted to cast Rowain right away. But apparently, if you just, you know, wait a second, it actually works incredibly well. So again, like, I'm getting barriers constantly. So even though I took a skull shot, like, every single time I cast this shield now, I'm getting an extra barrier on top of it. And then it's just a matter of constantly re-looping the board. And it's going to stay a Dust Storm the entire time, because every time you cast Harpy Mage, it gets a Dust Storm. So, like, it's extremely, extremely safe. Generally, you want to cast Harpy Mage on the hero, since there's going to be tons of Brown. However, in this scenario I'm looking, it looks like I'd rather cast it on Harpy Mage directly. I actually could have just popped off Leprechaun there, actually, now that I was looking at it, but whatever. Oh no, I lost my hero. Means I have to hit them twice now. Those annoying bastards. Watch I actually lose now. That'd be kind of funny. I do need to care a little bit more right now. It's also kind of funny how that usually never happens, and of course it happens while I'm streaming. I've never had a fight actually look that hard before. So a good soul farming team right now is the same teams that you would always use to soul farm before in the past. So like if you were soul farming before with like any given team, that's still the right team to use. You just need to use it in explore mode now. So like just do explore mode at lower level difficulties and then you'll be good to go as far as soul farming goes. So unfortunately there's no like easy way to do it. So before I would tell you like, you know, before the challenge mode change, I'd say, yeah, jump into challenge mode with an explore team that soul farms, and you'll be good to go. Nowadays, you kind of have to force it a little bit. So now you just go into explore with a soul farming team. I'll show you in a second, actually. I would recommend doing them at a lower level. So like probably level like 1, 2, or 3. Alright, well that's not cool. We'll kill Asha, and then we will get the rest of them with the next cast. There we go. Oh, you lost a fight with it, Onitz? That's rough. I haven't lost a fight with it yet. I've had to like work a little harder sometimes because something funny happens, but I've still never lost with it yet. And I've used it probably, I don't even know, like 40 times at least. Probably even more than that. So like, one thing that if you're using this team and you want it to be safer, you can play it just like not brain dead. You can actually like care about the mana gems that you're matching a little bit. But for the most part, I mean, it's especially, so like if you have another explore team that's working for you, by all means keep using it, of course, but like this is definitely faster than anything that I've ever shown on stream before, even in the video that I made before. So like from that point of view, it makes a ton of sense to use this team. I will acknowledge that it's like slightly less safe than the ones that I show in the video, but it's also not like that unsafe that I wouldn't tell people to use it. Like I'm not like really at risk of dying pretty much all that. Yeah, TPK would definitely work. It's kind of one of those things where, admittedly, like, I'm not hurting for mana this entire time. Like, I can pretty much cast the shield, like, every turn at this point in time. Wow, I almost completely blew that. It's because it's like, you see how I'm not barriered now? And now I'm barriered and Rowan is barriered. So it's like, it is very, very safe from that point of view. Like, so like, if you're ever nervous about this not being safe, just always make sure you match a brown at some point in there, so that way you actually get a little bit of protection from all that stuff. I love how they're just like straight up ignoring that skill there. Just need to get a Leppy cast. Let's just pop that. Cast this on Rowan themselves. Just kinda hoping for, you know, something better than that, but it's fine. Dead. Yes, so you get the shield weapon by leveling up the Sentinel class. So, if you look at the classes, Sentinel, class info. So, you can either get 250 wins with this, or if you're a psychopath like I am, you can use a Major Orb of Ascension on the class, and that'll let you skip the entire thing. It'll just give you the weapon if you use a Major Orb of Ascension. So if you're impatient, like I am sometimes, you can either use the orb on the class, or you can just get 250 wins on the Sentinel class. The banner that team is running is... well, let me just do the fight. It is this one. It's the Rat banner. So, Rat banner gets you there. But yeah, it's super brain dead. It's like, what's kind of, I almost just put it on Harpy Mage. What's kind of nice about it is that, like, right now, just getting through these quickly is the goal. And even the teams that I've shown before, they get it done, and they get it done reliably, but, like, this one will get it done way faster. And I would even argue that the gain in speed that you get from using this team would make up for if you ever happen to lose. And again, like, I've never lost with it yet. I've come close. But, like, I can always sneak out a win in the odd situation where, like, something isn't working the way it's supposed to. Yeah, of course. I hope it helps out. I love how this guy survives somehow. And what's also nice about this team is that it'll scale regardless of what level you're on. So, like, if you're on, like, level 10 or level 6, like, the shield is going to scale with whatever level all the troops you're fighting is, so it actually works out really, really nice. You'll still always, like, have to do the 3 casts and then it's over, so super easy, super nice. I've actually been meddling up my troops too, so far I've gotten Mercy, and I've gotten Apothecary and Leprechaun. So Leprechaun, Mercy, Apothecary are the ones that I've got meddled up so far. So you can see I've got my Goldie boy. It kind of just makes sense, right? Leprechaun wants gold, so he's traded. Basically, when it came to, like, which troops should I medal right now, it was like they have to be low, low medal cost, basically, because I don't have nearly enough medals to actually focus on anything, you know, that's like legendary or mythic yet. So, doing it with this team, or doing it on those troops, they're like the highest value low-level troops that you can get. So, it just makes sense. They definitely don't get any kind of, like, useful stats, though. So, like, you know, don't trait your Leprechaun thinking he's gonna do, like, way more damage or, like, you know, anything quite like that. Like, he just gains health and armor. That's what all the generator-type troops get, is just health and armor. But the nice thing about it is that it, you know, just makes them live a little longer, which is kind of really all you care about. So that totally works. Do that just for fun. I'm actually playing safer than I normally do. Just because normally I'm kind of like wildly haphazard with my explosions. Just because it's like, it's kind of mindless when you're doing this. You're just like trying to get through them as quickly as you possibly can, so it's like, yeah, why not? So to use the team, I'll show you in a sec after this, but you can basically copy that code and then in-game there'll be an option to paste it. So all you would have to do is like open up a team slot and then look at the team and then choose the paste team option. So I'll actually just paste it in a second here so you can see it. So like if you're in your troops menu and you're looking at a team, you go to manage team and then here's the paste team option. So like as long as you copy that code exactly and you go to paste team, the exact banner, the exact hero class, the exact talents and traits, all that stuff gets transferred over. So you're like literally using the exact same team lineup that I am. So all you have to do is open up a team slot, manage team, paste team, and then you're good to go. Tokens are kind of maxed out at level 10, so there's no advantage to doing this at, can I even see it right now? I'll just show it on a different one. So like tokens, for instance, when you go to your difficulty slider, you'll see that tokens, you either get 2 or 3. So 2 or 3 at level 10, 11, or 12. The token drop rates aren't any different when you get to higher levels. So like you're not going to get better tokens by doing it on 12 versus 10. But if you can beat it on 10, honestly, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it on 12 anyway. Because you get extra gold bonus from that, and you also get more myth stones, so that'll get you running through. Starlight, to your point, I can't be sure, but I'm like pretty sure that like there's no drop rate improvements to tokens. Like you certainly don't get any more tokens. You either get 2 or 3, even at 12 or 10. I am like 99% sure that there's no benefit to doing them at 12. As far as the tokens you get, because like the tokens that I'm getting are still vastly the lower level ones. So I mean, someone could math check me on that, like if anyone's kept a spreadsheet of all the tokens that they've gotten, but I'm like 99.9% sure that it does not matter. That's a good question, Starlight. I don't think so though, honestly. And I don't think so for a couple of reasons. Like, anecdotally, I can say I have not observed any noticeable, like, improvement. Like, I get 2 tokens pretty often with this level 12. But then also, somewhat separately, I don't think the devs would do that. Like, I feel like the devs would probably just code it in a way where it's just a static 2 to 3. Like, I feel like whenever I ask those kinds of questions, the answers are a lot more basic. Like, they usually don't have more advanced logic to say like, well, we'll scale this with difficulty. Like, to me, it's kind of like they would say something if they changed it. Yeah, I agree, Zed. Like, I feel like they would say it if it was going to increase the token drop rate. But down here it says you'll get more gold, trade stones, and myth stones. It doesn't say anything about the tokens being any better. So I would suspect that the token drop rate isn't going to be any different as far as like the rarity or the number. But yeah, I would recommend doing them at level 12 anyway. Again, if you can do them at level 10, you can do them at level 12. Just saw that. But yeah, I wish they would tell us. They're definitely very mysterious when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't exactly know why. Because like, there's no monetization stuff tied to that. So it's kind of like, what does it matter if they're more explicit? But, you know, it is what it is. I guess we only are allowed to know what we're allowed to know. I would definitely prefer they tell us, though. It's just one of those scenarios where it's just like, why not tell me? Technically, I'm in danger. If I was trying to be super safe, I would have casted, or I would have taken a brown there. But I like to live on the wild side. I mean, it's kind of like, in the absence of telling us, they're basically just tasking some random community member like Starlight or myself or Tacit or someone on the boards to basically do the math for the community. So like they're kind of giving us a homework assignment when they do that kind of stuff. I'm not patient enough to be tracking my stats to that degree. Like I'll track stats that are static that I can just like pull a bunch of data into a spreadsheet and do it. Like I'll track that. But if it's like tracking each and every single fight in a spreadsheet, like I don't have the patience for it. So I will default to somebody else to figure that out if they want to. But I would, my keylime recommendation of the day, or you know, thought of the day, is that I suspect that it's the same, and that there's no benefit token wise, one way or another. My strong guess. Yes, song. I love this song. But you can see how brainless this is. Like, I'm kind of not paying attention. What's not fun is that they mana drained my boy there. But what's also kind of fun is that it really takes like 2 seconds to get him full again. Do I have any better idea for Leprechaun slots? So, I mean, Rowan and Shield is kind of like what you're after. I will say Harpy Mage is a really nice addition because depending on what class you have, that Dust Storm start that you get with this is not going to last that long. So Harpy Mage gives you an option to get it faster. So I would say if you replace one of those Leprechauns with a Harpy Mage, you'll have a lot better success rate. It also doesn't mana block as hard, so like you'll be able to more consistently cast it. So I would say like this exact setup would work. I mean, it should work in all kind of content basically. Like it should work in delves as well, honestly. If you're doing it in like super high level delves, just play a lot more safely. Like make sure that you're getting the brown mana for your barriers way more often than I do. Like right now you're just watching me like casually pop stuff for no reason. If you were doing this in an actual delve, I would be a lot more careful about like what mana you actually take. But Harpy Mage, since when you cast him, he conjures a Dust Storm. So like this 8 down here, so like this 8 is technically 4, like 4 of your turns. So, you know, if you're confident that you can get your shield off like 3 times in 4 turns, then, you know, you wouldn't really have a strong reason to switch it. But I generally find you need more than 4 turns to actually get it. Yeah, I would definitely give Harpy Mage a shot in that scenario. So like in this setup right now, for instance, the like keyline being reckless thing to do is to cast Harpy Mage right now. The safe thing to do would be to do that. So that way it's kind of like I'm now barriered no matter what, and I'm getting the mana that I need. Normally I wouldn't do that just because I'm, again, careless and reckless when I'm doing something like this. The opposite of what I just did for Guild Wars, but this is what I would recommend for that. Glacial Peaks is a little annoying because of all the freezing going on, but it's really not that big a deal still. And if I ran this with the Cleanse Metals, it'd be even easier. I don't know. Now that we're like a little bit into the whole Cleanse Metal change, like I honestly think the Cleanse Metal is in like a perfect spot right now. Because it's like, it is noticeably better than when you don't have the Cleanse Metal. And it's not so crazy that like I'm never going to run debuff oriented lineups because they're super ineffective. Like I think they struck the perfect balance actually. So anyone whining about the Cleanse Metal, I vehemently disagree with you. I think it's in a perfect spot right now. Especially for the rarity that it is. And like people will say rarity is a valid argument, but it's really not, because if you play this game for like a month, you're gonna have 3 Cedric medals no matter what. So it's like, even if they made the rarity like mythic, like it wouldn't matter because everyone's still gonna have them in like, you know, a few months. So it's like, you're gonna have to deal with that situation at one time or another. So like, the fact that if it was like super rare doesn't change the fact that it's still busted. Oh, I just realized I had this up the whole time. Worldbreaker, I would say, is actually pretty fun. I like Worldbreaker a lot. He's not a high value mythic though, so like I wouldn't tell you to get a Worldbreaker over most other things. Like, he's not a troop that kind of like does something interesting that's gonna set you up to do a lot of other cool stuff. Like, you can't fit him into like lineups casually. Something like a Possessed King, for instance, you can put in like a trillion different lineups, but like a Worldbreaker is someone that's kind of like, he's gonna get you mana, he's gonna do good damage. So like, he's definitely a good mythic, but in terms of like, is he a high value craft, I would probably say no. It's hard to say that because like I love Worldbreaker, but telling somebody else to craft a Worldbreaker over something like a Possessed King or an Infernus or an Obsidius or like a Grey King, like there's a lot of mythics I would tell you that you will use way more consistently that have stronger effects. Worldbreaker is like, if you have a really intense mana looping lineup, like he's basically just gonna like keep the turn yours and give you tons of mana. People say he's hard to fill, but honestly he's not. Like, I really don't have any trouble filling Worldbreaker. Like, I really don't have any trouble filling up any troop, honestly. Like, as long as you're running mana generation lineups in the correct way, like, filling up somebody with, like, 30 mana versus 24 mana, it's really not that much harder. Like, I barely notice it. So, I mean, that's why Zool lineups, for instance, when you fight Zool, you'll see teams running, like, double blue converters trying to get Zool mana. And it's like, I've seen Zool get full in a single turn, so like, just because his mana cast is high doesn't mean it's hard to fill him. With the like mana converting situation goes, so it's like, if you watch my Mythbusters video, the concept that I talked about in there about how multiple skull matches yields multiple instances of damage, it's the same situation with mana gems. So like, if I converted, Christ, can I even make an example right now? So like, if I converted yellows to blues right now, so I'd get this and this. So like, this is separate mana instances, so I would get this surge and then potentially a surge here. So like, the amount of mana that I would get from just these two is like at least 15 plus. So I mean, again, if I had like yet another one in the mix of that, like, you gain so much mana from mana converters that gaining mana is never hard to do. If you're building teams correctly. Like, if your team is not able to generate that much mana in like a turn or two, well then like, I would argue you probably do not have as much mana generation as you would need on that team. But yes, Worldbreaker is fun, and I love him. After that huge rant. I'm like, here's all the reasons I wouldn't do it, but I love them. There's something just really satisfying about, like, setting up the entire board and then blowing it all down and then setting it all up and then blowing it all down. Like, he's just kind of a fun troop to use. Like, he was the mythic that when I first started the game was the guy that I wanted. Like, Worldbreaker was easily the coolest mythic that I had ever seen when I first started the game. And he was like one of the last mythics that I crafted, because I could never justify crafting him over something else. Yeah, I'm using Titan when I use it, just because the mana bouncing helps you with mana generation. The 50% mana start is useful, and then the berries on browns. You could run this with Sentinel, it would just take you like slightly longer to potentially fill your shield, but not really. And you'll be safer against skull hits, so like, Sentinel is probably totally fine. But yeah, as Liz said, it's all mana, mana, mana. Mana stacking is absolutely a thing. Is the new Mythic worth it? I don't think he... Oh, next Friday, you mean. So, yeah, we can talk about him a little bit. Why don't we do that? Let's pull up some good old Terran's World and I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts on the surface is that he's definitely very good. So, blah blah, troop spoilers. Let's get a wheel spin. Well, first off, before I even frickin' do this guy, get ready to hate the shit out of this guy. So, this guy is the new goblin that's coming out next week, and he explodes the board, and he gains an extra turn, and he silences a person. So, silence, looping, guaranteed extra turn, summons a Leaf Storm. Sick. Like, this troop is disgusting. I hate him. But what's worse than this troop is the new frickin' weapon that's coming out, which is going to be the most broken weapon in the frickin' game. So let's make this nice and big so you can share in this misery with me. Look what the heck this weapon does. So this weapon is a mixed weapon, right? It's a normal goblin mixed weapon. But it's also creating reds and greens. Green's obviously very good for goblins. Red is good for someone like a No Bend Brothers. But look at what else this weapon does. Extra turn? It gains an extra turn, no matter what. So you're going to create a shit ton of mana, and then it gets an extra turn, no matter what. So if you got an extra turn from the mana, it gets an extra turn, and if you didn't get a mana match, it gets an extra turn anyway. So this weapon is going to ruin the game, ruin it completely. I cannot just stand how terrible this weapon is. Like, I get it. Thematically, it fits with goblins, but you are going to fight nothing but goblin teams running Thief that use this weapon all next week. This is your life next week, is fighting this. And I will tell you now that the way that you beat this team that's running this weapon is freeze. So you have to freeze. If you do not freeze against this team, you will lose no matter what. Absolutely no matter what, you will lose if you do not freeze this person. So freeze just became like the most important debuff you could possibly use when you fight against a team like this. Otherwise, they will just take board control, and this weapon will just ruin your life. It is literally impossible. So yeah, that's all that. But back to the mythic at hand that we were talking about. Sorry, I had to get that goblin rant out of the way. It makes me so freaking mad. This guy. So King Bloodwood, I mean, look at him. Look at him. Look at that evil tree. He looks like a treant that just went on like the slime juice from Ninja Turtles 2, the movie. If you remember that stuff, that like turned Bebop and Rocksteady into these like psychopaths. This looks like Treant just took some of that like slime stuff. But what he's doing is basically like a super sick nuke that's getting boosted by a decent amount based on entangled and bleeding enemies. And then he's also stealing life on top of that. So like in terms of the damage he's going to do, the damage is actually pretty strong. And the reason is because whenever you 4 or 5 match, not only is he entangling, but he's also bleeding. So like every single time you get a 4 or 5 match, you're boosting his damage by 16. And like entangling the enemy randomly like this is like just super useful anyway. This is a troop that also scares me when there ever is an elemental class that gets released. So he is elemental himself. This class getting like quick mana start would be really, really scary. So what's really, really strong again is that every 4 or 5 match entangles and bleeds, and he gets boosted by entangle and bleed. So if you loop really heavily with him, he's green. So like someone that makes a lot of green mana that you'd put with him would be like a Yasmin's Chosen, a what is it, a Wild Queen, like Leprechaun with a Leaf Storm start, the new Moonsinger troop. So like the bleed mechanic part of him, Korn, is like not useful. Like I don't care about the bleed damage at all. But what I do care is that it's boosting. And like if you have him on your team, you honestly don't even need somebody else bleeding. Like having somebody else on your team that's adding more bleeds isn't really going to matter. So he's going to do all the bleeding you'll possibly need. And it's heavy splash damage. So like the first troop you hit is going to get nailed. So like total damage on the just spell effect, I would expect it to be like 30 some odd. So like let's just say it's 30 for, you know, clean math. So if it's 30 and we've got all 4 people bleeding and entangled, which isn't going to be super uncommon. What, we're looking at an extra 50, what, is that 56? Is that right? 16, 32, no, it would be 64. So an extra 64 damage. So he's doing like roughly 100 damage to whoever you hit, to 50 damage to the 2 people next to them. And he's stealing 10 life from everybody on top of that. So like, he's pretty crazy. Like, the thing that's bad about him is that he doesn't loop himself. So like, you need to put him on a team that loops a lot, and then he's like a finisher troop. Like, you loop and loop and loop and loop and loop, and then you use him to just blam somebody. So like, that's the way that that team lineup would actually go. So I think he's definitely really good. Admittedly, like, if you don't get him, I wouldn't freak out. Like, he's not so busted that I think it's like impossible to survive without him, but you can definitely do some serious work with this guy. There's going to be a lot of Green Day teams, potentially Brown Day teams that would use him. I don't think he really fits with yellow all that much, but with green and brown, he fits pretty excessively. So yeah, that troop going to be all kinds of dangerous. But the goblin weapon, that's the one that's going to ruin everybody's life. So get ready for that. Hey, what's up, Capo? Thanks for joining us over in Mixerland, my man. King Kablamo. I like that. Yeah. And boosty boost. We are almost there. Just don't, I was like, just don't pop my harpy. Don't pop him. Alright, sweet. Can't do that. This should be enough. So that's gonna pop the harpy, but I don't care. This might not be enough to kill, but I will kill the stupid person up there, which is kinda all I care about. Then I'll just play it safe. Just need to get Rowan one more time. I've got barrier, I don't really care. It's the only move though, so whatever. There we go. Oh, even better. Just loop some more for kicks. Oh, don't even need him. What's up? Some cheap soul farming teams? Yeah, I can do that. So, if you're trying to make some cheap soul farming teams, my recommendation. So let's just go to some random other kingdom. Suncrest. I will change the difficulty slider to like 3. That sounds about right. So then let's use... So this is my, like, proper soul farming team. So, like, this is, like, your best of the best soul farming team. Obviously, not everyone can do this, so, like, this is not what I'm going to show you. But if you're trying to build a soul farming team, kind of, like, the key components to it would be Dragon Soul, because he's, like, the only one that can generate mana and get you souls in a useful way. Hey, what's up, Dra? Valkyrie can also kind of do it, but admittedly Dragon Soul will at least get you some damage with it. So if you're trying to build a soul farming team, what you got to search for are troops with the necromancy trait. So all of these troops are going to get you bonus souls when you use them. So anyone that's got this trait, you're going to get some extra souls. So now what you're really just trying to do is build the most like effective damage lineup with these people. So like you know, Keeper of Souls is useful because he converts. Granted, he only converts skulls, so that's not all that great. Warlock used to be something that people would use because he would remove all the purple gems and then do damage. People seem to really love Osiris, and I don't really get it. I don't understand why people like this guy, but people seem to really love Osiris. I mean, he gets you bonus purple, so like that's kind of useful, but like he just transforms a single gem into a skull. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Osiris personally. But all you're trying to do again is just build like mana or team lineups that can do damage. So like Sacrifice will actually make you a bunch of mana. So this part's kind of fun, but you have to kill someone to do it. You'll still get the bonus from like the skull perspective, or from the souls perspective. So like even if you eat somebody, it'll still be totally fine. So like running a team that looks like that, God, I don't even know. Let me see a converter. I feel like there's not many. Yeah. Creator? Doom Skulls, no. Acolyte, 9 Browns. That's not terrible. I might even just use that. So like, oh yeah, I should mention Umberwolf. The reason why Umberwolf is here normally is that he's creating a Darkstorm every turn, but he does not have any Necromancy trait. So like, using Dragon Soul and Umberwolf together means you have 2 troops without the Necromancy trait, so that's not really a good way to do it. If you have 2 Pharaoh's Ra, then that's fine, because then you have an extra 300% souls, but without it, you want to maximize the number of like soul gaining troops that you have. So I would probably do something like this. This to me seems like it would be fine. Banner-wise, I would still use purple and red because I want to get Dragon Soul moving as quickly as I can. But then you just fight, so this is like level 3 fights I'm doing right now. We'll see how many souls I get from this. And this is all assuming you don't have Pharaoh's Ra. If you do have Pharaoh's Ra, this looks a lot easier. But basically the way that the team plays is like, you just get mana up on your Dragon Soul as quickly as you can. There we go. So now that we've got Dragon Soul up, it's just, you know, Hurt Town. And you'll see that, like, I'm gaining extra souls every time I cast him. Sure. Oh, that almost worked. So like to maximize my souls right now, what I'd want to do is cast Dragon Soul again, because you can see I'm not quite there. He's the one that's like gaining me souls by using him. So like that's another important fact. You need a way to generate souls. So like Dragon Soul is your soul generator. So that got me a passive 354. So like, and it was pretty quick. Like you could run through this pretty quickly if you wanted to do this. So like Dragon Soul is really there to just kick things off. There's other people with the Necromancy trait that will give you souls when you're using them. But I personally find like speed is so important to just like get through these quickly, because like it takes a while to grind souls, so you kind of want to go through them quickly. Like when you're using a team that has no synergy whatsoever, like it just feels bad. So using a team that's going to at least like get you moving in some capacity is definitely better. But it basically just looks like cast this, cast this, cast this. I'm just going to cast this just for fun, but there's really no reason. But like at this point, like we're in kill mode, and then I get my 100 souls, and then you know another 354. So like this is a team that most people I imagine could make, because sacrifice you get from guild chests if you've never seen sacrifice before. So if you're opening up your guild chests when you get your seals, you'll get these kinds of troops and sacrifices in there. The bonus magic that he's giving, not really all that important. So I mean, you could replace sacrifice with somebody else if you wanted, but I have him in there just for funsies. But he also is a mana generator, which is the other reason I keep him in there. So I mean, this is a team. Basically, I would just say Dragon Soul with 3 Necromancy troops is your ideal soul farming team. You do it at level 3, so that way they have enough health that when you use Dragon Soul, you don't kill them, because you need to cast Dragon Soul like 3 times basically to make sure that you get the maximum soul benefit. So if you're trying to just purely soul farm without Pharaoh's Ra, I would recommend something like this, Dragon Soul with 3 Necromancy people. If you do have 1 Pharaoh's Ra, you would do something still very, very similar. I would put him like there, and then basically just run the same team. I might even... if I had 1 Pharaoh's Ra, I would probably... I mean, Umber Wolf is ideal, but let's just say you're trying to maximize souls. So let's go Necromancy. I would not recommend Dualahan. That's for show. Why do I feel like I used her before? She does decent damage and she takes green, so sure. I would do that. You know what, screw it. I don't know. I never used that person. I remember I used Mummified. I think I still like Acolyte. I think I'd probably still do something like that. So if I had 1 Pharaoh's Ra, I would probably run something that looks like this. When I do my daily quest stuff, I just use my soul farming team with the double Pharaoh's Ra in it, because that's going to like basically allow me to get some passive soul gaining as I'm doing my like normal remedial, boring like daily questy stuff. So like the one thing that's kind of not good about the way that this fight is playing out, although this person gets me, if the enemy's life is greater, deal triple damage and gain triple souls. So yeah, like you're never gonna get triple souls when you cast this, so not really all that useful. Casting Pharaoh's Ra is your most beneficial soul gainer since you get 20 every cast with him. So then it's just clean up at this point. So like once you max your souls, you can do all the fun damage stuff that you want. So like I'll just cast this person for instance to just kill him. But once you max your souls, just do all the damage that you want. So like that one's getting me 496. So if you have 1 Pharaoh's Ra, you jumped up your souls from 354 to 496. So just adding in 1 Pharaoh's Ra made that much of a difference. And then when I do this with my double Pharaoh's Ra team, so I go Pharaoh's, and then I put Umber Wolf at the bottom. The reason, what? I was like, why are there that many Umber somethings? The reason you put Umber Wolf on the bottom is again for that constant Darkstorm. So like this will just get you mana like more consistently. So this is what I use when I'm doing my daily quests. I just use this exact team. So, and again, it plays exactly the same. You just basically try and get your mana as quickly as you can, and then you just go to Dragon Soul time. And again, it's like much faster because I'm getting all this extra bonus souls. So like whenever I cast Dragon Soul once, I got like 60. Which is obviously super nice. And then when you see alignment, you can just cast Pharaoh's Ra, and then when you don't have alignment, you cast Dragon Soul. So, like, pretty brain dead. It's the only troop that could theoretically kill me. And then that's game over. Hey, what's up? Oh my god, how do I say that name? Oh, cool. Cool what? What? Oh, cool for cats, big lad. God damn, that name totally tripped me up. Hey, what's up, man? The text is so small on my little chat window. But yeah, if I was soul farming, this is the ideal team, I would say. It should be, like, basically the fastest. Gets you the most number of souls, the quickest, all that kinds of good stuff. And again, running it at level 3 is really just to give these guys enough health that they don't die from like 2 casts of a Dragon Soul. You need these guys to live long enough that you can maximize their souls. Titanal over Titan for what? Yeah, I agree, Starlight. It's, the way that the token farming goes, like, honestly, I think the passive souls that I gain just normally is kind of all I need, because I can't really get the tokens that I want fast enough, so it kind of doesn't really matter. But I'm kind of just doing it this way so I have just yet a little more soul buffer, because when I do need them, I'm going to want to have them. Oh, Umberwolf up there is kind of a party ruiner. Not a fan of that. At all. Mana blocking my stuff. I mean, sure. Probably should have hit the blade person there. Because this person could just insta-kill you, so like they're the least fun troop in that lineup. I love how I'm looking for alignment like it mattered. Didn't have Pharaoh's Ra up, and even if I did, kinda wouldn't matter anyway. But this is why Umberwolf is good, because there's so much purple everywhere that it doesn't really matter. So when you do this with the double Pharaoh's Ra team, it's 566. So like the difference between no Pharaoh's Ra, like none at all, was like 3 and change. 1 Pharaoh's Ra gets you 4 and change. 2 Pharaoh's Ra gets you 566. So like this is the maximum soul farming that you can do right now, and there's no like great way to like maximize this. So like you should just be doing it on challenge mode, because at least you'll get these chests while you're doing it. So you might as well. 1 token of Cedric. Oh baby, 1 badge of Cedric. Amazing. And then I think, yeah, I was like, I think we left that. Oh no, we need more midstones. We require more Vespine gas. It's gonna yell at me, right? No. God damn, I hate how the yes and no is flipped on that. Do you just see that? This trips me up every time. I feel like the yes and no should be in different order, right? Like normally this is yes, this is no. But it's like, would you like to end the current explore run? And it's kind of like, I'm about to click the wrong thing. Although I guess I might as well end it, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna end it, screw it. This is the bonus day? No, the bonus goes somewhere else. Because I'm gonna have to get the midstone somewhere else, and then I'll just do the fight there anyway, so like what difference does it make? Yeah, I've definitely abandoned some stuff. It's not a fun thing. Yeah, Fando, the main difference between Titan and Sentinel as far as that goes is just the mana start. So like for events, I generally say Sentinel is probably going to net you a better experience than a Titan would, just because you get the extra safety. But admittedly, it's kind of like, while that's true, the mana start in like PvP context is more important. So like the reason why Titan would be considered like better is more because it's more useful in more situations. Sentinel is a little more limited because the mana start in a PvP context is so important that I wouldn't trade it for like anything. Like classes that don't have 50% mana start require like so many extra bells and whistles to make sure that it makes up for the fact that it can't go faster. So the level 100 Sentinel trait is the same as the Titan. It's the Fortitude thing. So, like, it'll make you immune to Devour, you know, stun, all that kind of stuff. So, like, if you get your Sentinel up to 100, it's definitely a leg up. Guild Wars Purple Day team? Yeah. So let's look at that. And you're specifically trying to go against the Rope Dart team? So if you're specifically trying to go against the Rope Dart team, this is like a fight fire with fire scenario. So, like, use a Moon Rabbit. So, like, if you have Moon Rabbit and they have Moon Rabbit, you can cast your Moon Rabbit first. So, like, I always recommend fighting fire with fire in that scenario, especially on Purple Day. You have a chance to use, like, a perfect, like, setup. So, like, I can actually use this same exact team that I was just showing a second ago. This team would be totally fine against that team. So, like, I'm sure I can find somebody that's running the Rope Dart team. Let's see. There you go. So, this is a fight fire with... Oh, they're running with an Orb Weaver? That's gross. That's disgusting. So, like, right now, their Rabbit is in no good position. Although replacing this with Moon Rabbit does weaken the team exactly that I was using, I just realized because of this. But should still be fine-ish. Oh, I was actually like one of the worst casts on the planet to use against a Moon Rabbit. Glad they're stupid. That's fine. So the reason I say fight fire with fire is that, like, if you're trying to do the same thing that they're doing, you'll always have the added benefit of going first. So, like, if the board looks a certain way and you're scared of this troop, for instance, to start the whole freaking thing off, like, use your own Moon Rabbit. So if the board looks bad, it'll look bad for them because you are the one who's going to cast it. If you don't have a Moon Rabbit and they do, and the board looks really bad, then, like, you kind of are screwed. But if you have your own Moon Rabbit, you can basically guarantee that you get the benefit of the board and they don't. So, like, that's my fight fire with fire philosophy when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna... Sure, there you go. That worked. Yeah, no problem. I hope it helps. Don't say thank you yet. If you lose anyway, then I'm just some lie peddler that you're listening to. But in general, that's a good philosophy. This is also why I love the War Priest. Oh god, it's so good. This team made no sense, but with War Priest it's so easy. Hey, hey! Thanks for joining the Sublimes. I cannot say that. Can't say what that says, but thank you. Mwah. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much. The reason this purple team works, though, is because this weapon is creating a mix based on humans, and this is human, human, human. So, like, I make a crap ton of mana with this, which gets me empowered. Yeah, I do need to get glow sticks with this dark room setup. I'm just sitting here, like, raving it up. Which champion do you use to replace? Because I wouldn't put Champion of Guard or Champion of Anu down there. I would use Queen Aurora instead if you have her. So, like, if you have Queen Aurora... she can fit in there on a purple day. Like, she'll take the same kind of... Yeah, I probably wouldn't use Champion of Anu. There's... Well, at least in this lineup, there's no blue. So, like, I'm not even getting benefit from that. The damage is really not all that good. So, like, I would say Queen Aurora is always a good TGK replacement. Some Mana Converter is always a decent, like, replacement for TGK. Or, TPK? Jesus Christ. So, like, if you have TPK, the main reason you're using him is to keep the loop going. So, like, if you're not going to use him, I would want to use somebody else that keeps the loop going. So, like, Queen Aurora will keep the loop going. Any Mana Converter down there would keep the loop going. That would, like, mimic what he does. It's, there's really no replacement for him, but that's, like, at least close. So if you don't have TPK, Queen Aurora could totally fit the bill. For Purple Day, I would say the sort that I would be doing would be this. Converters that are also purple. So, Nemu is pretty decent. The thing I don't like about her, though, is she's taking away all the yellows that Divinish Follow would need, so, like, not a fan of using these two together. Sekma's pretty good because she's making stuff yellow, so, like, she's pretty decent to pair up with the Divinish Follow. They don't really fight each other on mana, because she's turning browns to yellows and blues to skulls, and none of those interact with Divine, so, like, these two together, Divine and Sekma, are really, really nice on Purple Day. Because they make stuff that, like, doesn't fight each other for mana. They're both making tons of yellow, they both take purple. So, like, these two are really, really nice. But yeah, that's my advice for all of that. I also have 3 TPKs, like, holy crap. I also did like level 150 explores with my Green Day team just to warm up. Cause why not? Not Soul Rancher, Jesus Christ. Oh, for delving. Yeah, I mean, if you're delving, I would still probably say Champion of Anu. Champion of Anu, like, the downside with him is that he doesn't really do much. Like, that's kind of my problem with him, is that, like, the damage output is really bad, and then the spell effect is not effective enough, if that makes any sense. Like, I would prefer it does more stuff. What context are you using that team? I feel like you could build a different team that would do what you want it to do better. Snake. So, like, if you're using the team that you're talking about, let's just jump down to here. So, like, if you're using, if you have Forest Troll and you have Gob Truffle, and you're trying to fill in the blanks on what else you could use, I mean, obviously, like, just 2 of them, I mean, that's also super valid. But if I was, oh, hard matches that you're afraid you're gonna die in. So, like, the problem I have with that lineup is more the Titania's Fan part. So, like, Titania's Fan is gonna put you in a spot where, like, you could create a bad situation, because destroying mana gems is really hard to, like, figure out. Like, when you destroy a whole bunch of gems on the board, like, it requires too much mental gymnastics to, like, actually try and figure out, like, what's the board going to look like when you're done. It does give you a cleanse, which is nice, but you'll probably have a lot more safety with just, like, Forest Troll and a double Gob Truffle, and then just, like, something that starts the board off. So, like, I mean, you could literally use any weapon in the bottom slot at this point. So, I mean, literally any weapon in the bottom slot, but, like, this will be very, very safe, because you'll have more than enough mana to keep that loop going forever and ever and ever. So, I mean, if you have 1 Gob Truffle, I would say it's worth it to grab a second one. Because if you were placed in that lineup that you just showed, your Valkyrie with another Gob Truffle, you'll have more mana generation, more damage, more looping, and you'll stay in the mana colors that you want, because Valkyrie's taking yellow and red. So, like, yellow and red, if you're running this kind of a lineup, are going to be very, very sparse. So, like, this is very, very good. The alternative, if you don't want to, like, work on a second one, you could use a Mirage Queen. Because running Mirage Queen, the nice thing about running Mirage Queen in this lineup is that it gets 50% mana start for Gob Truffle and for Forest Troll. So that opens up what kind of hero class you could use. Like, you can use literally any hero class in the bottom slot, and all these people are going to have 50% mana start. So, like, that's another benefit to running this with a Mirage Queen version of this team. So, like, even just these 3. But Mirage Queen kind of runs into the same problem. Hey, what's up, Nick? Mirage Queen kind of runs into the same problem where it's hard to get the mana because these 2 are making, like, greens and browns like a crap ton. So, like, yeah, I would recommend running Mirage Queen for the faster mana start, and then you could still run Titania's Fan in the bottom slot if you want. I would just say that there's maybe safer options you could use. Like, if cleanse is all you cared about, then, like, Titania's Fan's not terrible. Like, you could loop. So, like, that's, like, one of those things you could do. But these 3 in a row like this will just allow you to put whatever you know, hero class, whatever weapon you want in the bottom slot, these 3 will just autopilot themselves for the most part. So yeah, that would be my recommendation for that. We're right back in there. If you don't have Harpy Mage, honestly, I would recommend you just go get them. Like, Harpy Mage will be really, really easy to get because it doesn't require anything to really get them. You just have to go to the Stonesong Eyrie Delve, and once you're in the Stonesong Eyrie Delve, just like literally open up like 1 or 2 portals and you'll have a Harpy Mage. So like, Harpy Mage is an important troop to have in general, so I would say it's worth just getting them. If I, you know, want to just answer your question directly, like if you didn't have Harpy Mage, I mean another Leprechaun would kind of work. You could use Ragnagord instead. Ragnagord would work. The thing that Harpy Mage brings to this team lineup that's also useful though is the Dust Storm part. So the Dust Storm part also makes it like pretty safe. So like, I would say just go get Harpy Mage, honestly, is like my like being fully honest answer. It's very, very simple to get Harpy Mage, so like it's worth getting. For the class trial? Yeah. I'm glad you said that, actually. I haven't even finished mine. So this is what I was using, or am using, I should say. Thank you, Fando. I appreciate it. So, like, this is the team that I'm using because it's really, really easy to, like, get it started, basically. The one thing you just have to, like, Infernal King isn't someone that I use a ton, admittedly, but, like, you know, it's pretty quick to remember what he does. But what's nice about this setup is that when you run Doom Crossbow, what's left behind is usually a ton of blue. So, like, it makes it super easy to just, like, destroy people with it. And then this troop is really here to just get me even more purple if I need them. So, like, ideally I wouldn't convert away purple, yellow, or green, or blue, technically. I would like to leave all those colors if at all possible to make this team, like, the most effective. But I mean, like, realistically, if there's no board setup that I want, I'll just, like, convert something. Just so I can make the board look somewhat different. Infernal King's gonna convert browns and reds like Taipan does. But, like, when I'm in this scenario, it's just, like, just do some damage. And then now I've got Infernal King as a setup. And as I mentioned before, there's going to be a lot of blue left over on the board, so like technically I've got some stuff. This is still able to cast. So, kinda don't like... I mean, I'm just going to cast it, because I'm just me, and I'm going to cast it, but I wouldn't recommend other people cast it necessarily. Well, I guess in that scenario I'm gonna win anyway. What's up, Bill? No Doom Crossbow. So, like, you don't have to use Doom Crossbow. You could use Doom Blade instead. If you have Doom Blade would work just as well. Because you're gonna create a crap ton of reds, so, like, you're just gonna convert all those reds into Doom Skulls. So, like, this would be totally fine, too, if you have Doom Blade instead. Yeah, no problem, Kurt. Definitely someone that you should grab. Hey, what's up, Cookie? Yeah, it is super early. I had to stream my Guild Wars fights, though, and I can't, like, wait to do those. So, like, I have to do an early stream for that one. I'm just too impatient. So, early morning stream it is. I'm pretty sure that's dumb, right? No, that's okay, actually. Technically, you didn't have to do it, but... So, like, if I had my Doomblade up right now, look how crazy this would all be. So, realistically, I should get that mana first before I start doing all this. Sure. Yeah, TPK is super, super good. Oh no, Isabel, you don't have this one either? Alright. I'm gonna make you a version of this that doesn't use either. We got this. I just want my bow up. Is that so much to ask? There we go. Now I got the crossbow up. Now I can create the nightmare that I wanted to. So this is how that would look when you set it up properly. It's just like, these are all setting themselves up. But alright, non-crossbow version of this team. Non-doom weapon version of this team. So let's see. There's gonna be tons of red. What do I even want? Non-doom weapon. Could you use Doom Axe? Maybe. It's blocking Arenas, but you're gonna get enchant if you had like anything. This is gonna turn purple. Yeah, actually, this might actually be really good. So let's give it a whirl. So like the nice thing about this, no, I don't have Zuliat L'Oreal, unfortunately. The nice thing about this is that all the purples that I'm making are just going to turn into like suicide for the other team, since all of the purples are going to turn to Doom Skulls. The hard part about this team is just going to be filling up the weapon, because I'm constantly converting away yellows. So like filling up the weapon is going to be harder with this kind of a team. So like you might have to go out of your way to fill up the weapon specifically before you can start going totally bananas. That worked. Jesus. I don't like any of this. There has to be a match in here somewhere. This feels crazy that there's no matches. I'll do this. So like right here, for instance, I could take this right now to get me up there faster. I'm probably going to do that, because now I only need like one more turn to get the party started. No. Alright, so now the party can get started, because now we got the Doom Dax up. So like now literally all the purples that are on the board just get turned into murder weapons. And then the nice thing about that is that I'm not conflicting any of the mana that I need, so like I can actually do this with it. So like this will work, but the setup is going to take a little bit longer. I would recommend if you're doing this, then I would definitely like focus on getting the mana up on the axe first, and then start doing all your goodness. That's what I would end up doing if I was using that team. Do you actually not have Doom Dax? Or is that why you were saying you're sorry? Hey, what's up, Aurelius? Thanks for hopping in. So yeah, this would all work. But admittedly, I think the Doom Crossbow or the Doom Axe, or the Doom Crossbow or the Doom Blade are the best versions of this that I would use. I actually kind of like the Doom Blade version though, because I'm making so much and I'm not really taking away any blues. So this actually works like pretty darn well. Oh good, you do have Doom Dax. Alright, good. Well. I'm actually, like... I'm gonna take back what I said about the Diabolist class. It's really stretching my ability to say that class name, by the way. Diabolist is, like, the weirdest freaking name ever. I'm taking it back slightly, because I think what I can do with that class is make a... I can definitely make a Fireblade team that would be very scary if I have that class up to 100, but it's gonna take me getting up to 100 is the downside, but I can definitely make very scary teams with that. It's just a really awkward, like, that's a very tall ask. Because Wrath is a demon type, or daemon. No, I don't think the Diabolist is a good class. Like, I'll put that out right in front. Like, I don't think it's a good class, but I know I can actually get it to do some good stuff, because since it's a daemon class, Queen of Sin will bless daemons. That's somewhat useful. TPK being a daemon is somewhat useful, but since Wrath is in there and Glaceon's in there, Wrath is going to burn everybody, and then I'm going to do triple skull damage in response. So, like, if you can get one Wrath cast off, you're basically going to kill, like, 1 to 4 people in one cast. So, like, you can do some good stuff. But you have to get the class all the way to 100. So, like, the class, until it gets to 100, is very uninteresting to me. The class, once it is 100, it's gonna have viable methods to do scary stuff with it. But it's just such a high barrier of entry. Like, nobody wants to take the time to level this class up to 100 to use it, like, maybe once in a while. That's basically what it's gonna be. So, like, that part kind of super sucks. I love how I'm staring at this board confused. I'm like, what am I doing right now? I'm like, what mana colors do I even want right now? Treasure Hunt, I think, is really good for early game players. Like, the rewards you get from an early game perspective, like, that could be a way of getting some resources. You probably could get the resources faster elsewhere, but, like, in the early game, like, getting, gems like that, you're not gonna have, like, a ton of tributes, so, like, your tribute chance is gonna be really, really low in the early game. So in the early game, like, the Treasure Hunt will theoretically be a really good place to get, some stuff from that. The downside to that, of course, is, you know, you're spending a lot of time to do that. So it's kind of like, it is technically the best way to get gems, period, if you have the patience to just sit there and run through it. But, like, that's kind of the fight I always have with myself, is like, if just gems was all I cared about, like, yes, that mode would be better, but it would, like, kill my soul to play it all the time. So, like, I don't think I would really play it that much anyway. So, like, as it stands now, like, endgame players basically never ever touch explore mode, because the tribute chance you get is high enough that, like, it doesn't really matter. Early game players, you could get some better benefits from doing it, but admittedly, it's kind of like, in the early game, gems is not really something you should super care about anyway. As long as you have enough gems to get the event weapons in the early game, that's all you need gems for. Like, if you're using gems for anything else that isn't that, like, I would really question what you're doing at that point. Oh, I already got all the rewards. I think I still like the crossbow version of this team better, though, because I more consistently get reds, so this makes more sense. So I'm very curious to see if they actually ever change that mode, because that mode needs some love. As it stands right now, it's just like, it's underwhelming, let's put it that way. Like, it takes a long time to do it, and the rewards, while they are good, don't feel good. So it's like, it's hard to tell people, like, you should jump in there, even though it is an effective way of getting stuff. This is like the worst sales job of all time, by the way. It's like, I'm trying to give you as full of an answer as I possibly can, but I'm, like, basically saying a lot of nothing. It's so awkward. I don't want to change the reds. And I don't want to be patient. Being patient is boring. Oh, I was about to do cool stuff. You bastard. That wasn't nice at all. I don't want to convert away the greens either. No. You life ruiner. That sucked. Fortunately for me, it all works out anyway. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be doing... Oh, you agile piece of crap. Gina. I've been there before. I've been there. It's such a hard question to answer, because, like, explore mode on paper is a very good mode, but in practice, I just find it not. Like, I just never want to do it. So, like, the rewards are not so good that I ever go out of my way to do it. And I guess that's, like, the biggest punchline I could say. But the early game player definitely gets more benefit out of it than other people. So there's that. Just want to be doing cooler stuff faster. Like, this is how impatient I am. I just want to start, like, casting spells even though it makes no sense to cast them. When I'm doing modes like this, I'm just like, I just want it to be over faster. Treasure Hunt. Yeah, Explorer mode is definitely worth it. Yeah, if we're talking about Explorers, I would have the argument that I'd be trying to have with myself is, do I ever do PvP again besides getting tier 3 or tier 1 rewards? That's a much harder conversation to have, because like there's still value in doing them, in doing PvP fights, but like since you can gain gold so effectively from Explorer mode now, it's like really hard to find a reason to PvP right now. It's not that there isn't one, it's just there's much less of a one. And like, yeah, if your guild cares about trophies still, then yes, absolutely. But like a lot of guilds these days have recognized that like trophies don't really do anything anymore. So like before they were like I don't know. I don't even know, like, I don't think trophies are ever really all that important. Like, it gets your guild higher up on the leaderboard, but it doesn't make you any better at, like, PvP, it doesn't make you any better at Guild Wars. It's just kind of like, it doesn't make you any better in events. It's kind of tough to, like, give a super strong recommendation to trophies. I'm sorry, Isabel. I mean, I still get a crap ton of trophies every week anyway. Like, I PvP a lot in general, so I mean, it's not like I'm not getting them or anything like that. But I mean, it's kind of like, the ranking is only so important. Like, it's really, really hard for me to tell someone, like, yeah, go all out for trophies, because it's like, what are you really getting at the end of the day that's going to help you beat the guy across the table from you? It's like, basically nothing. So, like, what are you trying to do? I mean, I'm all about the EPing as well, I guess, but trophies have kind of really taken a backseat to Explorer mode now. I mean, it's totally a bragging rights thing. Like, no question. Actually, let me paste this team for you in case anyone was interested in just, like, quick taking it. Play on Sword's Edge with that team. Like, Explore mode? You want me to Explore mode with this team? On Sword's Edge. That's like up here somewhere, right? Yeah, there it is. What team are we looking at? Let's just use some random team. Explore mode. Okay. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Jesus Christ. Night Devourer team. I love how it's not letting me paste it though. What the hell? Sure, that works. I mean, I am gonna eat me a lot of knights, that's for sure. So the Doom weapons come around based on the kingdoms, so it's kind of tough. So like, what you'd want to keep your eye on is what kingdoms they're from. So like, when Drifting Sands comes up, you'll be able to craft it. When Draxum comes up, you'll be able to craft it. Same deal, Broken Spire, craft it. Magram Woods, craft it. So like, you're gonna have to craft them at this point, unfortunately. And they're really expensive to craft, also, unfortunately. But let's eat some knights, I guess. I'll see you later, Fando. Thanks for hopping in, man. Yeah, Nisha are super duper rare. It's very unfortunate. Like, that's gonna be the biggest lagging factor for any of us getting, like, super epic teams, is how rare those things are, super unfortunately. Kinda wanna get green or blue. There we go. It's like I just need to get a cast off, Jesus. So is this a 100% chance? Oh, it's a 50% chance. Alright, so this isn't even, like, guaranteed eating right now. So I should be a little safer. This is eating likely versus eating guaranteed. Let's eat you first, because you're the most annoying. Don't want you to summon people. Although technically I should eat with the first troop. Ideally. This is kind of funny, though. I don't know if I would say this is, like, a great team to use, but it's certainly funny. Like, these are one of those teams that, like, in theory should be better than they are. Like, when you have a troop that can perfectly counter another type of troop, you would think like this would be Bunnynog's time to shine. But like, unfortunately, it's kind of like running some other team is still going to be better. So that's the part that sucks. It's kind of like, I wouldn't recommend this team over other teams, although it is like a funny use of the Bunnynog troop. And of course, in this kingdom specifically, you're going to eat like everybody 50% of the time. So much mana matching! Lorio. You're just basically asking me to make things just to watch me dance. You're like, dance, Key Lime, do it! I'm glad they worked out, Cookie. Super glad they worked out. Yeah, that team's kind of funny. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but it is still funny. Still no on the wheel, huh? That's a really withholding wheel today. Why am I not exploding? Oh no. Did you change me to a non-exploding version of Titan right now? You're a monster, Loro. How could you do this to me? I was about to say, I'm like, that non-explosion is like hurting my brain. At least you kept the barrier part on, so thank you for that. Because I think you left the barrier part on, did you? Yeah, you left the barrier part on, but you took the exploding part off. You're a madman. So I'm not a fan of summoning lineups usually. So like, the problem I have with summoning lineups is that they kind of depend on you dying to be useful. So like, to me that's like a weird mental shift to be making. Like, do I want to have backup if I lose, or do I just want to like be more effective with the troops that I have and hope that I don't lose them? Like, that's kind of the way I think about it, because it's really rare that there's a summoning thing that actually will be useful outside of summoning. So like, Jar of Eyes summons and is useful, so that one's always nice to have. What else? Summoning is useful. Let's see. Because I would want summoners that convert or create mana. No, don't like it. What do you do? What? What do you summon? Oh, a Light Storm. I was like, what the hell's going on? Alright, so let's just sort it by this way. What? What is the verbiage on convert? Transform. Jesus Christ. That's so awkward. Alright, so transforming people that do conversion. So like Alder Father is kind of the best one. Royal Engineer. What is... I don't think I've ever even seen the Royal Engineer troop. What is this troop? What? Yeah, so like the problem I have, like, I mean, yes, this is useful from an armor gaining, so like that'll help out troops like Guard of Avatar, or Guard's Avatar, Jesus Christ, and Rowan. That definitely helps. But I'm never a fan of giving over my turn when I don't have to. So like, I would much rather have someone that can loop and potentially summon versus someone that just like does a bleh effect and then gives over my turn to potentially summon. So like, if I'm looking for armor and looping, I could use someone like the Devoted, for instance. She's giving armor to everybody and creating mana and cleansing. So like, this troop I would much rather use than the troop that we looked at before. Even though she doesn't summon, she basically like does the same kind of thing, but also loops and cleanses and makes mana. So like, to me, she's a lot more useful than someone like the Royal Engineer would be. I'm just never, like, you're never gonna see me, like, try and build around summoning. Like, I'm never gonna use Gargantar, I'm never gonna use, the Doulahan. I'm never gonna use, like, some Orc lineup that's using Garnock as, like, a primary summoner or something like that. I just don't prefer summoning lineups. Like, I think when you're lower level, like when you're like a lot earlier in the game, like summoning lineups are a lot more useful because you probably will be losing troops a lot more consistently and you can't build the kinds of loops that you want. But once you get to the end game, like I pretty much next to never ever summon on purpose, let's say. I never try and build around summoning, let me put it that way. That was actually, God, what was it? I was watching someone on Twitch. There was some random person streaming on Twitch. Excuse me. And she was doing delves, but she was depending on summons. And like, she didn't feel comfortable not using summons. So like, what I was trying to explain to her in the stream was like, I know that you feel comfortable using summons, like, because it gives you a safety net, but like, having a more effective team is going to net you more safety than you think. Like, you know, a good defense is a good offense, that whole thing. That's kind of the philosophy that, like, you're applying when you do something like that. Scary cast. Totally worked. I'll see you, Cookie. You hit the elite level. What is the elite level? What is it? I want it. Is that level 1000? Is that what we're talking about? I want me some elite level. Ah, 337. You gotta hit 1337. Oh, there you go. I was about to say, I'm like, 337 is not enough. What level am I, actually? Oh, no, I already passed it. No, I failed for the memes. Snake, if you don't have shield, then you couldn't use this team, really. Like, shield is the most effective booster of armor when it comes to this kind of thing, so like I would recommend a different team entirely if you were trying to explore without the shield. So like then I would fall back to the other team that I've shown before. I'll show you that one in a second. Trying to think if that team's hard to make or not. It's basically just Gob Truffles and Forest Troll. No, yeah, the other team's really easy to make. I'll show you the other one. So the other team that I would use before this one is super easy to make as well. If you have a Doomglaive, that's kind of important. You need a Doomglaive. So if you have Doomglaive, then you can do this. And I suspect this will work without the Doomglaive. The Doomglaive just makes this a lot easier, a lot more consistent. What am I doing? I was like, I already have him in there. And then Moira. So this team is actually incredibly good. And I would run this with a... Actually, I think I do run this with Titan. Yeah, pretty sure I run this with Titan. Same banner. So this team totally works. Cool, you got the best. I am kind of sad I don't have any kind of like emotes going on because of the YouTube situation. This is so much other mana. Jesus Christ. So like, what's nice about this team is that this will loop like endlessly without question. So like, now that I'm in this situation, it's basically just like the Moira Glaive game. So like, I'm just trading these until I have the alignment that I need. So like, right now I still... No, there you go. Now I've got Moira alignment. So like, I'll just cast Moira on somebody. And then now I've got Doomglaive alignment, so then I cast Doomglaive on somebody. And I would have Moira alignment, but I don't have Moira up, so I'll just cast this. And now I've got Moira, and then I'll cast Moira on this. And then I've got Doomglaive, and then I cast this. So this is like a way faster version than just like your stock Gob Truffle team with like double Gob Truffles and like trying to loop those two forever. This team's a lot faster because the Doomskull output from these guys will like make your fights go way faster. So strong recommend on that. I'm just gonna cast this to entangle this dude, so that way I don't have to deal with any of that. Oh, there's Brown right there. What an idiot! Watch, he killed her. Since he's just got that random kill chance. That would have been some crap. Oh no, I can't cast Moira. Oh, whatever. Just glaive him dead. Oh no, he's got skull resistance. What have I done? I'm failing so hard against this little boy. This little troopy boy. Because I'm trying to be silly. Silly, silly fun times. But this is the team that I use instead of the other one. So I can give you that team code as well. What? Okay. Apparently I'm in the middle of an explore right now. That team, super good. I would not say it's as good as the shield version though. How is that not? I'm giving you guys a code. Fuck it. Sorry. Language. But when the wheel gets that annoying, it is not a thing. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it for pimping the stream. I can only deal with the wheel being a withholding piece of crap for so long. When the wheel is that annoying, like, I can't deal with it. I don't want to make the odds so high that I end up giving you guys like 90 codes, but at the same time, it's like, it is chance-based, so sometimes it's totally crappy and it takes way too long. It's no fun, but you're welcome, guys. I forgot what team I'm even making right now. Oh no, I'm messing with my spreadsheet by accidents. God, my mind is so scrambled right now. I'm like, what am I doing? Lepo, not the word. Gold leprechaun, baby. Rowan, no. Oh my god, language. Back to the El Clasico. Oh, you're welcome, Liz. My bus now has running water. Hell yeah, Gina, hell yeah. That's crazy. How did you get running water? Do you have like a reservoir, or is that like so for folks that don't know, Gina is building a schoolie. So what a schoolie is you basically convert like a bus into a living situation. So like you're able to like have like a really interesting like mobile home setup basically. But I'm curious how running water in water tanks. Okay, that makes the most sense. I was like, how the hell else is that happening? So if you have running water, does that mean... I'm assuming there's not a bathroom in there, right? Or is there a bathroom in there? There's a bathroom in there? What the hell? Alright, I'm definitely going to check that out later. This schoolie's getting serious. Oh, you're welcome, Christina. Gina's not playing around with this, like, schoolie conversion, dude. I'm so jealous. That sounds super cool. Hey, Kaylee, thanks for joining. Oh, that's a good question. Composting toilet. Man, do you guys ever watch those, like HGTV like showers, Jesus, shows where they like have people run around and like try and buy houses for like certain like price points and stuff like that? Whenever they buy like a house, like there's always a couple on like every random episode where they'll be looking for like a super compact house where it's like basically as big as like yeah, it's like Flip or Flop. I forget what this one is. I don't think this one's Flip or Flop. This is like one where they like are just like they get shown 3 houses, and then they pick one of those 3. This isn't like them doing like the house renovation stuff, I don't think. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is Flip or Flop. Maybe it's House Hunters. Yeah, alright, there's like 1,000 of them. It's one of those. It might actually be Flip or Flop, because I do remember them making changes to it, I think. No, but it was one of the ones where they had like a local landlord taking them around, so it wasn't Flip or Flop, because like Flip or Flop, that's always that dude. But I think it was House Hunters then. So like in the House Hunters episode, they long story short, they always show him like one of those like super small houses that's like really, really compact. And when they're looking for those, there's always a couple that's like, I need a composting toilet, and like the couples will fight with each other if there isn't one, because like invariably there's always one person in the couple that doesn't want the composting toilet or doesn't care, and then there's one person where like that's the only thing they care about, and like it's just so funny watching them like fight with each other at this point. They're just like, well, it has everything we want, but it doesn't have a composting toilet. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, how freaking hard is it to put in a composting toilet? Like, if the house has everything else, like, get the freaking house and just put in a composting toilet. Like, how hard is that? Like, I get budget is a thing, but if you're like buying a brand new house and everything about that house is perfect, get the perfect house and put in a composting toilet. Like, I don't get it. I always laugh at that. Those houses end up being like really cool. I don't think I could ever live that kind of life, but like, it is really cool. I'm envious. Oh yeah, baby, anew. Let's go. Wow. I was like, where are they? So what are the what's the hang up with composting toilets? I didn't realize there'd be like regulations around it. That sounds a little wild. Is it like a proper disposal like, is it about the disposal of the waste or something? I don't understand like what the hang up with it would be. Hamster breeders? What am I missing? Do hamster breeders make money? Wait a minute. Yeah, the disposal. Alright, that makes the most sense. Oh, okay. I was just like, what is going on? I'm like, if breeding hamsters is like a valid life job here, then I'm like doing something wrong. Because I feel like hamsters basically breed themselves, right? You just like chuck them in a cage and you'll make a crap ton of them without you trying to do much of anything. I'm pretty sure when I was growing up, I had a pet hamster. I say this as if I don't know the answer. Yes. When I was growing up, I had 2 hamsters, and one of them ate the other one. I'll never forget it. Like, my parents never told me that that's what happened, but like we woke up one morning and they were just gone, or like one of them was gone, and they disposed of the dead one before like my sister and I realized what was going on. So apparently hamsters eat each other? That's a little psycho. Frickin' cannibals. Read a whole article about hamsters eating each other, or just hamsters in general. I feel like I'm missing out on hamsters. I actually went to a pet store yesterday and I was like, it's so hard to walk into a pet store when they have all the animals just like floating out. Like when they've got the hamsters and the snakes and the lizards and the cats, and it's like, it's hard to walk out of there without like feeling oddly compelled to buy an animal that you don't need or want, or that you didn't need or want until you walked into the store. Like, window shopping in a pet store is a scary thing to do. Because they're also flippin' cute. Yeah, it was... They were trying a new sex position and it just went, like, way wrong. Or it was just, like, a misinterpretation. It's like, hey, honey, eat me out. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, don't, like, eat me. And then all of a sudden it's too late. It's like she's already devoured the entire other hamster. Oh, man. So, like, the dark setup, my goal is to have it with, like, lights in the background. Because, like, I feel like with this setup, you can see me very clearly. And then I'll just have, like, lights in the background to make it more visually interesting after that. Just realized I'm, like, off-center slightly, though. There we go. Right back on center. Oh, my story was dark. Alright. That's also a thing. Yes, the story was also dark. Alright, perfect. That's exactly what I'm going for. It's like, I'm hoping that the new stream setup, like, is good. The colored lights, I think, will really, like, seal the whole look I'm going for, though. Of course, that's, like, not a trivial expense. like getting the lights. God, I was walking around Best Buy yesterday. Those lights are like, for the ones that I want, they would cost like, Christ, I don't know. It was more than I wanted to spend, let's put it that way. It'd basically be like close to $100, maybe more, to get the exact lighting configuration that I want. I'd probably end up spending close to like 200. So like sometime next year I'll do that. It'll probably be next year, honestly. Like I don't have the funding at the moment to be doing that kind of stuff. So I mean, this was like my dipping my toe in the water of that whole kind of stream setup. Next year the goal is new PC, new lights. The PC is like the most important part though, because like right now when I'm editing videos, my computer is able to do it, but it like is dying. It is not happy. So like a new PC is really gonna help me with my videos. Because like if I can make them faster, then I can also like have more time for editing and stuff like that. So the content should go up when I get a new PC. So like that will hopefully be a good situation. I mean, the computer that I'm using right now is definitely good. It was like very good when I made it in the first place, but it's kind of aged. Like it's about 3 years old right now. So I mean, it's using like a 1070 in it. Is it a 1070? Yeah, it's a 1070. So it's using like a 1070 and like a 6600K with like 16 gigs of RAM. So I mean, it's like, it's more than sufficient for like what I needed to do now. But once I started getting into video editing, that's when like it's not enough. At that point in time, it's really showing its like age at that point. It's so weird too, like just editing a video like stock is not really that bad, but the moment I try and put any kind of interesting stuff in there, like different layers and like start putting in like dumb little text effects and having video on video like at the same time, like that's when it starts to really suffer, to the point where like it crashes like regularly. So like I'm now conditioned to be saving like every 5 seconds while I'm making videos. Like basically if I make any kind of significant edit, I'm gonna be saving, because I made the mistake of like spending an hour or two like editing a video, and then it crashed on me and it didn't save a single freaking thing, so I had to redo every single edit that I had just done. And you know how like if you just lose a bunch of work like that, like the second time I do it, it's not going to be nearly as good as the first time I did it, because the first time I did it I was being super focused on like editing it exactly the way I wanted. The second time, like I was just so frustrated. I was doing the same stuff, but I was not taking as much care as I would have before. So I'm using Premiere Pro to edit right now. Basically, the moment my YouTube channel started like becoming a serious thing for me, I jumped in on the whole Adobe suite. So I'm neck deep in the whole Adobe ecosystem. So I use like Photoshop for my thumbnails, and I use Premiere Pro for my editing. I need to look into the Cartoon Maker of all things. So like I think I mentioned this on my Slack channel, but there's a Cartoon Maker Adobe suite which allows you to like create an animated character, and that could be the way that I end up making like a crab mascot for the stream. So like I'm interested in doing that. Oh my god, let me have my turn. Turn, please? Jesus. Yeah, it's Premiere is really not too bad. Like, it was interesting to get my mind to flip over to like layers as a concept for video editing. Like for photo editing, it's like really straightforward and obvious, but in video editing, layers, like as long as you understand what layers are and how they work in Photoshop, like it'll be pretty quick to pick them up in Premiere anyway. But like now you're also layering in like video content, effects, and audio at the same time, but like the general concept is exactly the same. So like it's definitely been really fun. Like that's really the reason I started making video content in the first place. It was like I wanted to teach myself how to use all those new tools. Yeah, your text is a layer, so like, and it follows the same logic as it does in Photoshop. So like, if you have a text layer underneath a video layer, then you know the video is going to be over the text, so you won't see the text. But then like when you get into like masking and all that other stuff, like all of those concepts still apply. So there's still like masks in Photoshop. So like sometimes when I put up like a video, like in the latest video I posted of my Green Guild Wars attack teams, I just took like a screenshot, or like I did a video record of my screen when I was playing the clip of Step Brothers, and then I just used like a mask to like get it to be just the video, to crop it basically. So I mean, conceptually it's really not too crazy, but it's like you have to learn what all the weird little mechanics are in Premiere. Like if I'm trying to do this, like how do I do this? Like how do I track motion? Like how do I tracking motion is probably the biggest one, but then once you start doing animations, like it starts to get a little funny. You have to get used to like key mapping and like understanding all that stuff. It's fun though. Like it's a lot easier now. When I first started, I was like staring at Premiere like it was some foreign object, but now it's kind of like I'm dangerous enough in Premiere that I feel comfortable doing generally whatever I want to do. Or if I don't know how to do what I'm trying to do, like it's no more than like a Google or two away to like get to it. So it's a good time. Yeah, Cindy's stream is like queued it out to hell, man. Like her stream setup is like super nice. I mean, once she gets all the stuff in the right spot. So like, yeah, Cindy's a girl. So like, if you've ever watched Salty's streams, she had Cindy on there a couple times. It's basically like her friend from like, I guess like growing up. Like it seems like they've been friends since like, you know, school, like, you know, like growing up school. But she's like just starting the game, so like, you know, when you're watching Cindy's streams, it's less for the game knowledge and more because like she's just like a really cool personality, like very opinionated, very like happy, like it's a good time checking out her streams. I would strongly recommend anyone that hasn't watched a Cindy stream before. She's on Twitch like exclusively, so like I would definitely recommend checking out her channel whenever you got a chance. Yeah, so there's like two different Cindys. Yeah, there's like Cindy Cool on YouTube, who is like a different person. And then there's like, God, what's her name? It's like, Come On, It's Cindy or something like that. But yeah, I jump into Cindy's streams and I try and help her out as much as I can. Admittedly, like, I don't actually get to watch her all that much. Like, she always ends up streaming, like, when I'm in the middle of something. So, like, I feel so bad. I support her as much as I possibly can, but, like, usually when she's streaming, I always end up, like, I'm in the middle of something and I feel terrible. So, like, I'll just jump in to say hi so she knows, like, I care. But, like, it's like, last night when she was streaming, I was in the middle of watching a movie and I just happened to open up Discord and I saw she was in there. Yeah, for folks who don't know, I did end up creating my own Discord, so people that wanted to, like, talk about gyms after hours, if you will, or just ask me questions more directly, or just hang out with the cool folks in my Discord. Basically, all the regulars from my stream are in there, and then, you know, we talk about gems, we do some weird stuff late at night. Late at night, the chat kind of, like, takes on its own personality. The Discord, I can get you a link for that. Let me get you a linky. Ba-ba. Invite people, copy button. Let me see if I can, like, fake out. I always have to, like, fake it out. I think that link will work. Think YouTube's not gonna eat it? Yeah. So if you jump in there, that's where my Discord's at. We've got a handful of people. I like advertised it once on my YouTube channel, like proper. It's kind of like I'm not expecting it to be like the most filled place on the planet, but I mean we already have like a really nice group of people, and it's kind of nice because like all the people that end up like all the people you're chatting with like in stream are in the Discord for the most part. So like it kind of allows you guys to have a way of talking to each other aside from when like Tassin and I stream. Which I think is kind of cool. And we got all kinds of bots up in there. So there's like a bot that'll let us do karaoke in there. There's a music quiz bot. It gives you like levels as you talk more, which I can't tell if that's annoying or cool yet, but it's in there. But I mean, it'll also announce whenever I'm like posting a video, it'll announce when I'm streaming. It does that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a cool place. I recommend it. Another Anu. And speaking of, I believe that is going to be the end of the streamy stream for today. So, hey, this is actually easier to do now because I get to just like look forward and talk to you guys. So thank you guys for jumping in and checking out the stream for the Guild Wars exclusive Green Day fights. I'll see if I can do some more of those for Guild Wars. I honestly think that's actually a pretty cool thing to do. This is able to show you guys like how I actually like run through, do my fights, give you guys some strategy, help you with teams. Hopefully you picked up some of the other cool stuff. I always enjoy when you guys ask questions and I can help you out with random team building stuff. But of course, new weekly preview video tomorrow. Jump in the Discord if you feel like saying hi. Otherwise, yeah, more video content and streams on the way in the future. So I love all of you guys, and I will talk to you in the next one. I'll see ya. Have a good Sunday.